Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending from where you are watching us. This is Michael Virardi, and welcome to another special episode of the Jumpstart Monday show. It's broadcasted on a Thursday because we would like to host a very special guest today. It's one of the series of power skills where we discuss growth and determination today. And our special guest today is no other than Joe Foster, who is the founder of Reebok. Joe was born in 1935 in Bolton, Lancashire, and together with his late brother Jeff, they founded the shoe manufacturer Reebok, and they took it to glories and riches, comparing with the likes of Adidas, Puma, Nike, and the rest. Today, he acts as the ambassador of Reebok, and we're so proud to host him. He's also the author of the book Shoemaker. With that, having said that, please, Joe, welcome to the Jumpstart Monday show. It's great to have you here today.
Thank you, Michael. What a nice introduction, and it's a pleasure. It really is a pleasure to be on your show. Never heard of this before, so we've done a lot of Zooms, but first time on LinkedIn, I think it is, isn't it?
It's LinkedIn, it's Facebook and YouTube. We're streaming live from Restream, and we're going on to 3 platforms.
Oh, fantastic.
But having read your book, I know that you are in favor of innovation. You like to try new things. And if it's not working, you find another route to go and make things work. So
that's the challenge.
Having said that, you can see Joe's book back there, Shoemaker, highly suggested to be read. And Joe, let's begin. We have some questions for you, and then we will open it to our audience to ask you their questions. Is that okay?
That's okay. That's fine by me. Yes. Perfect.
So you have a very inspirational story from what I read from your book. And as a boy who started from humble beginnings, you have gone through World War II, and you also experienced adversity by losing your brother, but also your daughter. And our first question is, how does one build resilience and determination, which is one of our power skills that we're discussing today, and keep pushing when Lady Luck throws such huge obstacles in their way, Joe?
Well, you know, I lost both my brother and my daughter later on in the journey with Reebok. And I think the resilience is built with Reebok because we started in a very small way. We had to leave the family company. You read that in the book. And because they were going nowhere. They had no inspiration, no really desires to carry on the business. So Jeff and I built that up because we started very small. And when you start small and you meet an awful lot of problems, like having to change our name, we started at Mercury and we changed to Reebok. And these were when you're young enough, you sort of get the inspiration, and you know that in order to succeed, you have to keep going. You have to have that right spirit. It's got to be possibly part of your DNA, which says we'll always go forward.
So that's the determination. Whatever Lady Luck throws in your way, you have to keep on going. That's very true. Second question. For the past few weeks, we have been talking to leaders about power skills, what other people refer to as soft skills. And as we know, soft skills are hard. According to your opinion, which power skills should one possess in order to be able to be successful in their career, Joe? You've gone through a lot, so we would like to hear your opinion.
Yeah, I think there are many of those, but I think for me, integrity is absolutely king. It has to be a number one. You have to have that integrity. If you say you're going to do it, you do it. Or you have a very good reason and you explain why you don't do it. Also, you've got to be a good listener. You've got to listen to people. If you just stand there and tell people what to do, you're not learning anything. You learn by listening. You always need to bring in people and encourage them to be part of that company. You know, we grew a company, and the culture was a winning culture and excitement, and that drives people on. And sharing, you got to share those feelings with people. If you don't believe and if you don't show enthusiasm, how can you expect the rest of your team to be that way? So enthusiasm, you've got to be there, even when there are bad days, when things don't go right. You've got to think, how do we turn this around to take it to an advantage? And that, I think, is very important to have, just to be able to talk to listen to people and encourage people.
So, enthusiasm, listening skills, integrity. And if I may add another one that I've read in your book, I would add observation. Because in one of your chapters, you said whilst you were going around promoting Reebok and another two brands in order to make ends meet, you observed the shelves in the shoe stores. So there you have seen the reality. You have seen their stocks. You have seen what was selling, what wasn't selling. And from there on, I think you had some great ideas going forward, and this has helped. Is that true?
Well, it does. I mean, it's you've got to be aware of what is going and what is affecting people who would buy your product. You've got to have people come out and they want to buy your product. You've got to love your product, and you have to see what is around. Although at Reebok, we really had our own, should I say, our own pattern, what we wanted to do. We looked for what we wanted to do. We were not too concerned about what the opposition or what the competitors were doing. It was good to see them, but really it's, you know, you've got to be different. You've got to take those risks. You've got to look for something different and new and come up with ideas. And so, yes, observation is good, but I think in the main part, you've got to be so enthusiastic about what you're doing. You know, you've got to observe athletes and what they want rather than what the competitor is putting on a shelf. What does the athlete want?
Very good. Very good. Thank you for that. Innovation was a central theme in your book, Shoemaker. And as I said, you can find it on Amazon, guys. It's worth reading. Your book was given to me as a present by Richard Penninger, the head of the business school at UCL, who spoke very highly of you, Joe. And
Right.
I truly appreciate that. You mentioned in your book that your father was stuck in a bubble of complacency and was reluctant to create new models of shoes. How important is innovation for a company? And also, how can we get, in your opinion, people unstuck from their complacency? And what happens if your family members are complacent and you want to move on?
Yeah, I mean, though that can be a difficult question in many ways because you either are enthusiastic, you are driven by what is new, new ideas. You're driven to make something, make the changes, and you have to make a difference. You have to make the changes. My father, I he went through two world wars, and maybe he didn't have the spirit left anymore. By the time Jeff and I came into the business and had, we were old enough to observe that the business was going nowhere, was going. Whether that took away all his enthusiasm, I don't know, but you do need enthusiasm, and if and the problem is, you talk about family members as well. Reebok and any business, if you want to be successful, it becomes your family, and it's like having a family. And when business needs you, you have to really go and do that, do whatever it requires. Whereas your personal family, if they don't want to come along, it's difficult because it's good to get them to be part of your business. And fortunately, as we grew, the family, of course, observed the fact that Reebok was something good to be part of. And so we were lucky in that sense. It was good to be part of. We were doing things and we were enjoying a lot of meeting a lot of people. So that's good. But how can you change people? I don't know. I think it's almost part of your genes. You know, you've got to have that enthusiasm. You've got to be a person with my glass is always half full, never half empty. It's always got to be that. Where do we go next? What is the next challenge? I left the company when we became so big, we were corporate, because at that point there was no challenge for me. So I can take a company up to a certain point. Once it becomes corporate, then you need different skills. And yeah, for me, I needed the excitement of challenges because we'd grown up with so many problems, and turning those problems into assets, turning them around was real. That's the challenge. So, it's something I think that when you have a business, you have to be in love with it to be successful.
Very true. I'm keeping two things, turning problems into assets and enthusiastic. My late father used to tell me that the word enthusiastic comes from the Greek word entheo, which means the God within, to release the God within to the outside world. irrespective of which religion. It's not about religion.
We learn something every day.
Okay, one last question. When you look back on your life, what is your biggest regret, Joe? And what is one thing you feel most proud of?
Well, I don't like the word regret. It's one of those things that, and with Reebok, we overtook Adidas, we overtook Nike, we became number one. We became the number one sports brand. So, in a sense, what is there to regret in that sense? If regret fits, I regret the fact that my brother was not able to see Reebok become a success. We had just arrived in America. We were just starting on that really successful part of our story. So, and it is very regrettable that he didn't manage to do that. But I guess on his dying, it probably made me more determined to make a success. And we did get the right amount of luck, and we did become number one. So not many regrets as such. Two things that really I'm proud of. Number one is we built a 5-star shoe, and that 5-star shoe got us into the American market, started the growth, really got the company moving. And the other one, of course, is becoming, as I said, we became the number one shoe brand globally. And we'd overtaken everybody else. So, those were moments to be proud of. And I still look back and think, how did we do that? But we did.
Oh, may I ask a question that mainly concerns me, to be honest? We've just given birth to two young twins. We have also a 9-year-old. And from what I read from your book, you were
Congratulations.
moving about a lot. Thank you very much. You're moving
Yes.
about a lot, and I'm sure that you miss some of the precious moments inside your own household. You don't like the word regret, but do you miss any of that? And would you trade it for the success you had in the business? I just want to know, as a young father, not a young father, but as a father,
Yeah.
what is there a work-life balance? Is there a work-life fit? Or what should we do about it?
I think today it's probably easier to bring the family along and to spend time with the family, but it's a difficult one to give an answer to. That if you don't look after the business, then we wouldn't be talking together today. You have to spend that time. And okay, maybe I was too dedicated to the job, to Reebok. Maybe I was too much in love with Reebok, and I still am. But I don't know. The one thing is that I traveled for many years on my own. I was traveling around the world, and now I don't do that anymore. My wife, if you want me, you get me and my wife. So there, there are so many things that I went. I mean, so many places I went. I went into the palace at Monaco to meet Prince Rainier, and I can tell the story, but it's good if I could have shared that with part of the family. So if there are regrets, it's not being not being able to do that. But whilst I can do it now, when you don't have the money, you don't have there's so many things in the way, but you have to go and get on that airplane. You have to go to those meetings, and eventually we were lucky. We became successful.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. Just a recap before we open it up to our audience. Today we had, and we still have the founder of Reebok, Joe Foster. He's talked mainly about integrity. Do whatever you say you're going to do. Be enthusiastic because this will help pump other people up. Like the Reebok Pump, the shoe that I was wearing when I was playing for the local team here, basketball. It was an amazing shoe. We used to pump it. You remember? We used to pump the shoe.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Oh, that
He
was a great
also,
show.
yes, it was a great shoe, of course. It was bought by our local team, Apollon basketball team, and it was given to all the basketball players. And
Brilliant.
we're very grateful to you for that because we won the championship, 14 games, 14 wins, no losses, and we won the cup as well.
That's it. You
And
believe in
by
yourself.
it's true. And by the way, my team in the United Kingdom is Leeds United. Huh? I heard you talking about Bolton, about Everton, but it's Leeds. So
Yes, well,
Joe told us about being enthusiastic, being passionate, having integrity and perseverance. moving on, and there shouldn't be regrets in life. I see an experienced man who's happy seeing the glass half full rather than half empty, and also being realistic, because in this life the end result is the same for all of us. It's just a different date. But I see a very enthusiastic person, and part of his success was not mainly lady luck, but because he persisted, insisted, he was determined in order to grow and succeed. So having said that, Joe, allow me to bring on Sophia, and also for Sophia to open up the floor. Sophia, hello.
Hi
Hello,
everyone. Hi
Sophia.
Joe. It is
Hi.
an honor to have you with us. The first question I have here from Mirofora Kakuru, she is asking, what are the most important attributes of a successful leader such as yourself?
I think it's accessibility. I think you have to be accessible, and you have to take people at face value. They have so much to bring. Other people have so much to bring to your life and to your business. And it's not to be a boss. You may own the shares, you may own the company, but really, everybody who works in that company must feel ownership. They must feel they belong. So you've got to be there and listen to people. Like they say, if you're the cleverest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So you need a lot of other people around you who can tell you what to do. And then, you become more the judge, the person who says, okay, make a decision between, this route or that route. So it's listening to people rather than trying to drive people along. They come along on the enthusiasm of the company.
That's why we brought Sophia in the room at this right moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Stylianos is asking, he's an entrepreneur himself, and he's asking how important is accountability in professional and personal life, especially when you lead a brand like Reebok.
Well, you try and be as accountable as possible. I think it's a bit like we say, integrity is so important, because you do affect so many people's lives and the decisions you make. And I know I made a lot of bad decisions. And my brother Jeff, he used to look after the factory. He loved being in the factory, and he said, "Joe, you do everything else." Well, doing everything else means you take a lot of risks, and be willing to take those risks, but you are accountable for those risks, and you have to hold your hand up if you get it wrong. So yeah, accountability, it's absolutely important. Integrity, these things are so important that people can come, they can talk to you. There's nobody frightened to say, knock on your door and say, "Hi Joe, can I have a word?" Of course, because that's how you grow. You grow by people helping, by people being there and part of it.
Excellent. Robin is asking another question. Looking ahead, what would you want Reebok to do in the future? Any wishes for the company on a global view?
Well, yes, I mean, I expect the new owners that they will take that company back to number one, that they will show everybody that this company is loved and loved by so many people. And the more people I talked to about Reebok, yeah, I remember I bought my first shoes were Reebok. So, there's a lot of love out there. And I hope that Authentic Brands Group, the new owner, and Jamie Slater, he's the boss of the company. I hope he loves the company. I know that Shaquille O'Neal is part of the company now. I know that he loves the company. So, that love is so important. And, if you've got, if you think about it, you can make it back into a number one company. So I think, that's got to be the ambition. Come on, I'm willing to help.
Wow.
Excellent. And I think the next question is related. I have to say, also, Reebok was part of my childhood. So, yes, Mohammed is asking, how do you speed up growth in business?
I mean, that's interesting, because I first went to America in 1968, but I didn't really get a foothold into America until 1979. That's 11 years. I wish somebody would tell me how to speed that up, but I think timing is a wonderful thing. And it just so happened that during that period, running, which we were in, running became a big thing in America. Became very big in America, and so that helps us to grow. But I don't know how you speed things up. Maybe if you have a lot of money, I think maybe you can speed things up. But we didn't have a lot of money. We had to go the long way round, and I would love that. I don't think speeding up a company is necessarily the way to be successful. I think you've got to take those steps as they come.
Very true.
Excellent. Great. We have more questions, but I will have to close now because we are going to the end of the show. Thank you very much, Joe. It has been a pleasure and an honor.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure for me as well. And we, like I said, we do have mutual friends now, and we hope to
Yeah.
be in Cyprus and wherever. So, yeah, we'll keep in
You're more
touch.
than welcome to visit us. You will be our guest. Let's go to dinner. You'll try the Cyprus meza. You'll love it. We also have common friends in Cyprus.
We
And
do.
thank you very much, Joe, for coming on the show. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom. And thank you for telling people that they need to be patient as they move forward towards success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure. Bye bye.
Thank you to everyone who has been present. Bye.